Okay, before I forget, I want to apologize for my fat shaming, which I did 2 episodes ago. I listened back to myself and I thought, this is horrible, Ting. Yeah, I can't just do it anonymously. So sorry, Tom.
What?
Because, these people are people, right? And he showed me that it's not just McDonald's sauces. You can always use a milkshake as well. Thank you.
Oh, McDonald's sauces.
Yeah.
Szechuan sauce. Do you know this? You haven't watched Rick and Morty season 3, episode 1, have you?
No.
The whole damn internet is talking about McDonald's Szechuan sauce. This is going to horribly date this episode. It's like, yeah, you're right. The whole damn episode was talking about Szechuan sauce a month ago. Never mind.
Is there any more? You going to give me a punchline or something?
No spoilers, man.
Okay, fine.
You can watch it when they show it again. You know what? I actually am quite curious. So, some context. Rick and Morty, on April 1st, they said, oh, it's the season premiere of season 3. And everyone was like, oh, very funny. We know it's April 1st. And then they showed the season premiere of season 3 and everyone lost their minds. And there's a major joke in the episode about McDonald's Szechuan sauce. The Mulan teriyaki dipping Szechuan sauce or something. But I'm actually wondering, is it the real season 3 episode 1? Because it doesn't have any of the stuff they showed in the teasers. I actually haven't done any research on this. Maybe they've categorically said it really is the real one. But it's got some quite shocking stuff in it.
That's not a surprise.
True, it is Rick and Morty.
No, but you might be onto something. It may not be the real one.
I think it would be funny if it was like a double bluff and it really was an April Fool's joke, just a really elaborate one. They made a whole episode just to double secret meta backwards troll everyone on April 1st.
Have you picked up the Rick and Morty game?
Oh, the VR game?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. It's just nebulously on my backlog like everything else. Yeah, I thought about playing it today, actually. Along with PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, all these other games I meant to play today. Instead, I played some more Binding of Isaac. And I went to the gym. I was healthy. So that's something at least.
So what have you been up to since the last episode?
I ate some Easter eggs. I went hiking. I went on a 6.5 hour hike. I had minor surgery on my lip. And people kept asking if I'd been in a fight.
What did you say?
I was like, and you're next. No, I gave them a proper explanation.
Well, I moved to
You moved house?
And I had to ditch some consoles. And I've only kept with me my PS3 and my Switch. And I've left my PC behind as well. Which then led to conversation about whether I should get a graphics card enclosure.
So you do have your laptop. No,
Yeah.
wait, but it's your work laptop. This isn't going to do any good. Oh, no, of course. Sorry. You have a Mac laptop. Does PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds run on Mac? I doubt it.
I could just boot Windows.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But then I need a key. And then I start whispering into the mic about how I get a key. I just buy a key. What am I saying?
Yeah, I don't know where you're going with this. You know what? I actually just buy Windows. You know, it's just much easier. I'm not a filthy pirate anymore. It's just too much effort. It's just too much effort.
It is.
You know, all they had to do is make the paid option easier than the free option. They just have to make the paid option better than the free option. It's just like Netflix. You know, who uses the Pirate Bay anymore? No one can be asked. There's Netflix. Unless you want to watch HBO. But, you know, there's HBO Go, except in Hong Kong. So, anyway.
You're right. I have so much to say, but I can't say it. Yeah, if it's not available on Netflix, what can you do?
Not watch it, of course. You know, I was at a meetup yesterday, which, you know, we're actually just talking about things we're going to talk about later, but one of the things that came up was people listening to the podcast and then commenting on the food challenges we've done recently. So they were talking about the pizza and the milk. And then they also brought up the Four Loko. They were like, did you really drink a can of Four Loko? I was like, yeah. It's like, where do you buy Four Loko in Hong Kong? It's like, well, obviously, Hong Tat Medicine and Cosmetics Centre down by LKF. And they were like, oh, I'm going to go there after this. I was like, you do that. You know, maybe we should do more food challenges. Maybe this is the way forward.
Fine. Hot Pepper Gaming, here we come.
Hot Pepper
We're after you.
Welcome to Lost Levels Club.
I have with me today.
Wait, I have to say myself?
Sir Michael.
And
Timothy.
my therapist.
Yeah, but...
Are you still my therapist?
Yeah, but I'm going to be out of a job soon.
You're going to have a job soon. Oh.
I'll find a new role.
Lucky you. You can be my dietitian. Today it will be pizza and milk. Do we have to say we're a book club of games, but not today? I guess it's kind of pointless saying we're a book club of games, but not today. Today we're just talking about stuff. So, yes, the meetup.
Mario Kart 8, really.
It wasn't a Mario Kart 8 meetup. Well, actually, no, it was a Mario Kart meetup. It was Mario Kart on the SNES, the retro game lovers in Hong Kong. So we meet up on the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays of the month, and on the 5th as well, if there is a 5th Tuesday like there is this month. The first meetup is often at the Globe in mid-levels. This is just like an advert if you happen to be living in Hong Kong.
Are we doing some... Have you got some other deal going on that I don't know about?
Yeah, they're giving me kickbacks. No, they've got no money either. So, at the Globe, usually someone will bring a games console, and this week, Maurice of Otaku Games bought his Super Famicom, and so we were playing, like, multi-tap Bomberman, so 5-player Bomberman, Super Mario Kart, and Street Fighter 2, and Puzzle Bobble, and just a load of old SNES games on an actual, real SNES.
Do they all make use of the multi-tap?
No, not all of them. Only Bomberman was 5-player, everything else was just 2, so we had to tag in and out. But we had those cool 8-bit do wireless SNES controllers. Have you seen those?
No.
So it's pretty cool. You get these, well, they made them before. They made these like replica Super Nintendo controllers that were Bluetooth. And then they also made kind of wireless dongles for the actual SNES. So it looks like a SNES controller connector, but it just has no wire attached to it. And you plug it into the SNES's actual controller port, and it will just wirelessly connect to one of these Bluetooth controllers. It can actually connect to like a PS3 controller or a Wiimote as well. But it was obviously originally designed for their own controllers. And yeah, it's quite cool. So we were just playing with wireless SNES controllers on an actual... How long ago is the SNES now? Like 30-year-old SNES? It can't be 30 years old.
No.
20.
Yeah.
20 surely.
25?
I don't know.
Something between 20 and 25.
Old enough to go to college? How horrifying is that? But while this was going on, a bunch of us had also brought our Switches, so we had a Switch party with the young hip 20-somethings, as you do. It wasn't on the rooftop, there was no one called Karen, but we had all our Switches set up on the table around the couch, and we were playing Mario Kart 8.
Okay, now, tell me about that. Oh, there's so many questions I have about Mario Kart 8.
Well, you've played it, because I brought it round to your new flat.
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
I really like it as a multiplayer game.
To be clear, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is on the Switch. And neither of us has played Mario Kart 8, which was on the Wii U. But, yeah, I enjoyed it too. I thought it was really good. Yeah, it's a fun multiplayer game. It's actually quite fun single player as well, I guess, but it's not the same, obviously. It's not the same.
You say obviously, but why?
Yeah, a lot of the fun of Mario Kart in multiplayer comes from the chaos and social anarchy that ensues when, oh yeah, we're all friends, but now I've got a blue shell and it would be a shame to not use it. I mean, that would be letting it go to waste, so...
Can you not use a blue shell?
Well, you can just not fire it.
Well, you gotta fire it.
Well, you gotta fire it, yeah.
You're blocking yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, on my Switch, the person on my left with, I'd never met them before. They were just someone at the meetup. And I was like, do I fire this red shell at them? Because they are in first and I'm in second and I would like to be in first, but is it rude to fire a red shell at a lady you've only just met?
Yeah, there's a lot of unwritten etiquette.
Well, no, I just shot the red shell.
How did she feel about that?
She was very good about it. There was also a brief tussle because we both wanted to be Isabelle, the dog from Animal Crossing. Because she was like, "Oh, I want to be Isabelle." I was like, "Oh, sorry, I always play as Isabelle because when we started it, my characters were already selected Isabelle because it's like my default." And I was like, "It's okay, you can be Isabelle. Isabelle's so cute."
So the death stare isn't just in the game; it's also in real life.
The Luigi death stare. And we did have some classic blue shell moments, like the guy on my right who was in first place until I fired the blue shell, and then I was in first place and he finished last. Sorry.
You're not sorry. You're enjoying it too much.
Yeah, but these things happen. I mean, it happened to me as well. Swings and roundabouts.
One of the questions I wanted to ask was, what are the multiplayer options? How do they scale?
Yeah, so it's interesting. You can play, on one Switch, you can play up to 4 people. So either clustered around it in tabletop mode, or if it's docked, obviously, you can have it on a big screen. If you are playing by connecting multiple switches together, you can connect up to 4 switches and 2 people per switch.
Okay.
So you can have a maximum of 8 people. We had only 3 switches with us. So we were playing 6-player multiplayer, 2 on each switch.
That's still good.
It's still good. It was very fun. It was actually really fun.
Was it very easy to set up?
Yeah, it was really easy to set up. I mean, you literally just say wireless mode, I think.
Yeah.
And then it just says join a room or create a room. And as soon as someone clicked create a room, it just appeared on all the other switches and we just joined it. This is clearly a killer feature of the Switch. If you are young and hip, but geeky enough to go to pubs while carrying a game console, it is actually really fun. I would definitely do this again. I would be really interested in doing this as well for Splatoon 2 when that comes out.
So I read, the problem with news these days is I'm never sure if it's real.
If it's fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news.
So I read that, and I've linked it here, so you can validate my fake news. It's that it's the fastest selling Mario Kart game in the franchise.
Oh yeah, I heard that too.
We can be both reading fake news.
We could both be reading fake news, yeah. I mean, it was on this site called The Onion. I think it's no, obviously it wasn't. It was Business Wire. They sound serious. I think I've read real news from them before.
So it bodes well.
It does bode well. I mean, the Switch is selling very well. I think people weren't quite sure how it was going to work out. I'm very happy with the Switch. I'm actually always surprised by how portable it is, because when it's docked on your TV, maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but the graphics to me, they look really good. They look really good. I mean, I guess it's not as good as like a PS4 or an Xbox One or a PC, obviously, but they're still really good. They're more than acceptable. And then the amazing thing is, it's coming out of this tiny sliver of a machine and you can just pick it up and walk away with it.
Oh, that's amazing, that thing.
It is incredible. And it is really great to be able to just say, oh, okay, I'm just going to take it with me and then take it to a pub and prop it up on the table.
But have you ever run out of battery yet?
I have run out of battery, yes. When I was sat in the back of like a 4-hour car journey playing Breath of the Wild. But, what do you expect? It's not magic.
Did you have a battery pack at the time?
Well, I think finding a battery pack that can charge a Switch is quite difficult at the moment, though I think it supports USB power delivery. So if you've got a battery pack that can output like 15 to 20 volts and you've got USB-C to USB-C, so it actually supports the power delivery standard, I think you can actually just power the Switch from it. So people are starting to come out with battery packs that support all the required standards and have all the required ports. So soon it will be a non-issue, probably.
Okay. I've had one instance where it ran out of battery and I was surprised. I wasn't expecting it. That's the only issue I've had with it so far.
So you mostly play it in handheld mode?
No, I wouldn't say that. 25% of the time.
Okay.
It's handheld.
Okay. I mean, for me, the overwhelming majority of the time is spent docked. But still, I very much appreciate being able to take it with me.
One last thing. Have you played any online multiplayer?
Not yet. It's interesting because I can see that you get like an ELO rating or something. So when you look at your stats, it says, single player, local multiplayer, and then online multiplayer, and your relative rank. Actually, I don't know what my relative rank is. I should check what it is for local multiplayer at least, because I think I actually did quite well.
How does it know it's you?
Oh, because I'm signed in as my character. So if I've got the player 1 controller, then it's me.
How does it know you've got the player 1 controller?
Well, obviously I'm just holding the player 1 controller. I mean, it doesn't know, but it's me. I'm just arranging so I'm always player 1.
And also, how does it know the ability of I guess it's not a real rating. It's just how you've done relative to the people you've played against locally. So I guess it's just for your own personal interest. But the online rankings probably are proper ones. I mean, just to give a rundown then of my performance at multiplayer. Please.
So...
And then we can compare it to reality and your own perception later on.
Of the 6 of us playing, there was definitely one guy who was better than me. So, in the first Grand Prix set we did, I came second or third a lot. And then he went off and just had a drink, and someone else swapped in for him. And after that, I was first or second a lot. So I'm strong, but I was not the strongest racer there. Battle mode, I had a really, really good first round. Like I just like took out everyone. And then the subsequent rounds, I was just kind of fannying about and just having more fun and rather trying to be a killing machine. So I did less well, but I still actually won overall just because I had that outrageously good first round. And then there's actually loads of modes. So there's a really funny mode called Renegade Roundup, which I was really bad at, but it was really fun. So it just splits you into two teams, a red team and a blue team.
Cops and robbers?
It is literally cops and robbers. So if you are on the robber side, you've got to escape the law. And if you're on the cop side, you've got giant piranha plants on the front of your car and you've got to try and eat them. And if you eat one of the robbers, they go into jail and the other robbers have to try and drive to the jail and break them out. It's actually really fun. Much more fun than I expected. It's like all this chaos, like, where are they? Because they don't show up on your map, obviously. It's like, oh, I think I saw them near here. And it's like, they're going for the jail. Stop them. It was good fun. But you need a lot of people. As in, even 4 people would probably be, because if you're playing 4 people locally, it probably isn't quite as fun because you can screen watch and stuff. Whereas up to 8 people on 4 switches, actually, it'd probably be really fun. Or maybe online multiplayer too. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I need more Switch friends to justify buying Mario Kart.
Well, you can always come to these meetups.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, but I know you actually have a real life.
Your life is real as well.
you've got proper grown-up responsibilities. You're not hanging around with millennials in the pub.
I wouldn't mind hanging around millennials in a pub. That sounds quite nice to me.
Yeah, obviously I'm having fun.
I just wanted to add that Mike is better than me at Mario Kart.
Well, duh. Did I need to be said? It is my game though, I would feel really shocked if you were like a Mario Kart savant and just beat me at it despite having, not owned the game and just picking it up randomly.
True. I didn't put an order to this, so what do you want to talk about next?
Oh, I don't know. It's never occurred to me. Would it make more sense to talk about the Zelda DLC?
Since we're talking about Nintendo?
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
So, you have been able to buy the Breath of the Wild DLC for some time now because they've had the season pass for sale on the eShop. But they finally announced what is in the first DLC. And I don't know. I think it's quite good. I mean, it's not blowing me away. But nor is it disappointing me.
Let's run through what's in the DLC.
Okay.
So there's the Hero's Path, which tracks where you've been in the last 200 hours on the map.
Yeah, I think that's really neat. So it will just show where you have walked in the past 200 hours. The thing that it makes me think is it already tracking this information and it's just going to display it? Or will it start from when you install the DLC?
But that's a weird expectation. If it's expecting people to only care after they've installed, to play another 200 hours after installing the DLC.
Well, I mean, they are thinking for the future, I guess, but it would be cool if it already is tracking it. It wouldn't surprise me if they were already tracking it, to be honest.
That'd be very cool.
Trial of the Sword?
I haven't even got the Master Sword, so this one's really for you.
You still haven't got the Master Sword?
No. I know it's in the Lost Woods.
Okay, you know where it is now.
But I don't know where the Lost Woods is.
So Trial of the Sword is a dungeon with 45 rooms. You go into the dungeon naked, it says, with no equipment, and you have to fight your way through. And if you make it to the end of the dungeon, then your reward is that the Master Sword is at full power all the time.
But there's nothing in between?
What do you mean?
I thought there was something in between. So if you did 35 rooms, you'd get something still.
Oh, I don't know about that. Okay. I don't know about that. The only thing I know for sure is that the reward for finishing it is that your Master Sword is fully powered up. So just some context for this. I mean, this is, I guess, a mild spoiler, but it's been months since Breath of the Wild is out. I mean, it's barely a spoiler. It's like a gameplay mechanic. The Master Sword, when you get it, it doesn't break because it's the Master Sword, and there's only one of them, but it will lose its power, and then you can't use it for a bit until it kind of recharges. But it also has 2 levels of power. So there's the normal power of the Master Sword, where it's just like a sword, and it's 30 damage.
Was that it?
That's it. Sorry to disappoint. When you're in Hyrule Castle, though, or facing, Ganon, then the Master Sword will basically just become like a lightsaber and it'll be glowing, and then it will do 60 damage.
Okay.
So this Trial of the Sword is saying you can upgrade the Master Sword to do 60 damage all the time. Which, no one's going to complain about that.
I guess that will help the hard mode. Which is... I don't know. I know...
I don't know. I was waiting for you to explain it as well.
Okay.
It's harder.
So, the enemies revive. Not revive.
Oh, the enemies regenerate health all the time.
Yes.
And I think the enemies are all ranked up once.
Yes.
So all the red bokoblins become blue bokoblins, and the blue bokoblins become black bokoblins, and the black bokoblins become silver bokoblins, and
Yep. So on and so on.
And there are flying enemies?
This I don't know about.
Okay, I'm not sure if this is specifically in hard mode or just an addition of the DLC, but I think there are enemies on like floating platforms held up by balloons. I thought I saw a screenshot of it. I might have just hallucinated it.
Okay. The next one is the travel medallion.
I think this is cool. This is kind of reminiscent of Morrowind or like an Elder Scrolls game. So you can just arbitrarily put down a travel gate on the map. So anywhere you want, you can just register it as a fast travel point.
But
once.
Yes.
Well, I say once. I assume you can move it around, but you can only have one place marked.
Finally, maybe the most interesting of the new additions is the new outfits. Depends on who you are.
Wait, the most interesting. Well, I guess you have many more fashion options now. There's a Korok mask, which actually has a function, so it vibrates when you are near a Korok seed. There's the Tingle outfit.
Have you seen the Tingle outfit?
Which looks ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
As it should.
I'm surprised Tingle has made it this far. He's such a ridiculous character.
What was Tingle's first appearance? Is it Wind Waker, or is he in before? Yeah, he was in Majora's Mask, wasn't he?
Yeah. He's the 30-something fairy failure.
Yeah, he's just waiting for his fairy to show up. To show that he's a real Kokiri, child of the forest.
And he's a bit creepy. I'm surprised he's made it this far in the franchise.
A bit creepy. They do like that though. They do like weird, creepy characters. A lot of Zelda characters are quite creepy. Like the Happy Mask Salesman, for example.
Yes.
Or, I'm trying to think who's creepy in Breath of the Wild. Beedle's a bit creepy?
No.
No? He's a bit simple. He's a bit too earnest.
I've not played enough Breath of the Wild, I don't think. You're quite in tune with Reddit and all that, right? Is Gerudo abs a thing?
Gerudo abs?
Yeah.
I've not seen this. Maybe I'm not as in touch with Reddit as I thought.
I saw a shirt saying, I'm on my way to my Gerudo abs. I thought, so is this a thing on the internet now?
I don't think it's a huge thing.
Because those abs are ridiculous.
Do they have some amazing abs?
Yes.
Okay, I hadn't really noticed, but I'm quite bad at things like that.
What other outfits are left? So there's the Majora's Mask.
Yes, Majora's Mask. And then there's also a Phantom outfit, like in Phantom Hourglass, and Midna's helmet, like in Twilight Princess.
And they're purely cosmetic.
But Fashion Souls.
I was playing last night and I chose an outfit just because it looked better than what was best.
I find myself often wearing the Rito headdress or like the diamond circlet because they just both, you can see my fabulous hair.
And what else?
And what else?
Nothing else, I'm just naked.
Yeah, gotta get a load of those abs. No, I often wear the hero's tunic just because it's, the utility of it. Boots, less fussed about the boots. I've actually started wearing the ninja outfit quite a lot as well. That's really cool. Have you bought that? The Sheikah outfit?
The stealth one?
The stealth one.
No.
Number one, you look like a freaking ninja. 10 points for that alone. And then also, you can just sneak up on everything. You just sneak up on everything. Like, you can just practically like run up to things and they just don't notice you. And they're like, oh, and then you just stab them.
Oh, you ruined it for me.
What?
I think that sounds too powerful.
It is very handy.
So you've got all the mounts you need.
Well, we already discussed my chocolate themed horses. The next DLC is supposed to be a story DLC.
Yes.
Are you still going to be playing Link, or is it actually like from another perspective?
I assumed you were playing as Link. So another dungeon, another story. I didn't make a note of anything else. Another 25%. Because it said another dungeon. Question mark.
They do mention... Oh no, that's a spoiler. Okay, never mind about that. I was about to like reveal ending spoilers. No spoilers. No spoilers. I have nothing more to say.
Have you got it?
What?
The DLC?
No. Well, they just announced it. I mean, it's not released yet, is it?
You could doesn't stop you from buying it.
Oh, I've already got so many things. I don't need to buy more things that I'm not going to quite go around and play. You know, I haven't even played the Dark Souls 3 second DLC. I bought the season pass for that. I haven't even played that yet. That's what I should have done today. I've been having to fastidiously avoid all Dark Souls 3 spoilers because obviously everyone else has played it now. And I've been just having to be, just not reading any of the Dark Souls Reddits, or YouTube will suggest to me, oh, how about this video about the Ring City? Like, no spoilers.
You're taking it quite seriously.
Yeah.
Makes me smile. Good. This is good. There's stuff you care about still.
Well, you say that, but I don't quite have the energy to actually play it. Because Dark Souls 3 is actually quite draining to play. So I don't quite feel up to playing it. But I equally don't want to be spoiled yet. So once I've built up the internal reserves of grit required to play Dark Souls, yeah, then I'll give it a go.
Okay.
Anyway,
talking
of games that need internal reserves of grit to play, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
So this is an early access game that came out in April, or maybe end of March?
Something like that.
So we sold 2 million copies already.
Oh man, he's like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life? I should be making stuff like this. I would say, I totally had the idea for this, but so did everyone else. I mean, it is quite an obvious idea.
So what is the idea?
Have you seen Battle Royale?
Yes.
It's Battle Royale. We both knew that. That was a fake staged question. So, it is literally a Battle Royale. Well, you can play as a solo player, you can play as a team of 2, you can play as a team of 4. 100 enter, and only one team leaves. So it can be a 100-man free-for-all battle, or a 50-team battle, or a 25-team battle. Only one team can be victorious, or one person.
I don't know why this one's blown up. Is it because the map is dynamic and it's shrinking all the time to keep the game moving at a pace, and each game lasts around, half an hour, rather than what I've heard is they can drag on for over hours.
That is the thing, because many people have tried to capture the essence of this kind of game before. I mean, it's really topical. If you think Battle Royale, the movie, was a long time ago. That would have been like 2001 or something. I remember watching it at Freshers Week at university and it causing a mild stir because people were like, oh, if I got put in an island like that, I would just curl up and die. I couldn't kill someone. I'd be like, oh, it's kill or be killed. Well, actually, I didn't use that phrase because that's from Undertale and that's an anachronism. But it would still be like, yeah, I'd fight to the death. What are you going to do? Anyway, certainly a cultural artifact. And then more recently, the Hunger Games, another, let's send a bunch of kids to an island to kill each other. It's kind of messed up that these things are so popular, but these things are clearly popular. So many people have tried to capture the essence of those games. There have been Minecraft mods for it. There have been, what was that other one? There's King of the Hill, or there's definitely another, the name escapes me for the moment, but there is
H1Z1.
Well, H1Z1
or DayZ. Which one?
H1Z1, DayZ are both zombie survival games.
Oh no, they're not.
Rather than explicit arena
I see what you mean.
killers. But you're right, they definitely fall into the same kind of subgenre. I'd even put Ark into that same kind of category. Kill or be killed, there's your tribe, there's your team, and there's everyone else. There is definitely another one that is explicitly a Hunger Games style arena where 8 people enter and only one can survive. I can't remember what it's called for the moment, but still. This one is very much like Battle Royale. Explicitly like Battle Royale. There is an island. Many people enter. And then there is an ever shrinking safe zone. So in Battle Royale, this is enforced by all of the children wearing explosive collars. And if they are in a danger zone, then the collar explodes. and obviously it kills them because it's around their neck. So they are all given a map and they're told, the danger zones are going to be activated here, here, and here. And so they get forced into an ever decreasing area and have to obviously fight to death. And PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is the same. You all get dropped out of a plane at the start. You can parachute down to somewhere on the island. Obviously, if you're a team, then you should obviously try and land together. And then there is essentially a gigantic kind of force field dome that is shrinking over the course of the game. So it will shrink from covering the entire island to, after 30 minutes, the size of a building or something, a very small size. So it forces all the players together. So it doesn't have the same issues that, say, DayZ had, where you kind of want to go and have like this fight for survival, but maybe you and the other people on the other side of the island, you're just never going to meet each other. So here, the match is going to last 30 minutes because by the end of 30 minutes, it forces you to be next to each other or you die. So it's really punchy. It's got the energy of like the Battle Royale film. It's really surprising that no one has actually done this exact thing before. I mean, it is in hindsight such an obvious thing, and many, many people have been trying to make a game that captures this energy, and they've done it.
There's no loadout, right? You have to go in blind with nothing. And
yeah, you jump out the plane with a parachute and your underpants. That's it. You've got nothing, and you have to find all the equipment, all the guns. You've got to loot houses. You've got to like find vehicles and try and outrun the force field shrinking.
Why are you compelled? I thought about this, and I'm compelled because there's no kill count, there's no KD ratio. I can just not show up for the first 25 minutes and the last 5 minutes be a hero.
You totally can. You can totally just hide and then try and kill the last guy, but you are in an ever shrinking circle. So at the beginning, you will be quite safe unless you happen to have the misfortune or poor judgment to land with another team. But after, 10 minutes, you've got 100 people and it's shrinking, you're going to be forced into proximity with them and they're going to want to kill you. I mean, it is kill or be killed. Sorry, just channeling Flowey.
Yeah, at me.
At you.
Why?
Why what?
You said you might play this today.
Oh, because it's a day off and I meant to play it. That's it. That's it.
But why this, above other things? Why is this grabbing you?
I really like the film Battle Royale. I really like the film and books of the Hunger Games. I think there is just something, there is some like primal thing it's tapping into. That's why these films and books are so popular. And this game seems to have managed to capture that essence too. Everyone's playing it. I mean, you were interested in playing it too, except that you don't have a device that can play it for the moment. I think there's just something about it, people kind of want to test themselves, and it's like, I would absolutely not want to be put on some Battle Royale fight to the death on an island. But in a game, that's totally fine. And the other thing I think it does well is, unlike other games like this, even like, if you think about it, even to some extent, like Counter-Strike is like this, it's just like multiple rounds, kill or be killed, high energy. But Counter-Strike, you might get headshot in the first 5 seconds of the match. And then you just got to sit there while the rest of the match plays out. If this one, you're on solo queue, you get killed in the first 5 seconds. Just re-queue again. You don't have to wait for the game to finish. So it doesn't have that dead time either that a lot of other kind of similar games have. If you're on a team, then you should wait for the rest of your team. But you can spectate, so you can actually look at them, but you've got your own view of it. You can spot things that they might not have seen. They can be like, there's someone behind you. I just saw them. Like, they might not have seen it, but you can say on voice comms and they'll know to spin around and try and shoot this guy. I've definitely seen that on Let's Play vids where their teammates have been watching their screen as well and have spotted things that they haven't seen. So it looks really fun. It looks really tense.
Are you not deterred by having to learn a whole new game to be competitive? Or are you happy being?
I gave up on my dreams of being a professional
gamer
a long time ago. I don't expect to come first. I just expect to have a good time. And I think a lot of it is luck too. You could get a really good weapon. You could get just a good spawn and circle placement. Like, it might just be that as the dome shrinks, it happens to be shrinking around the center of where you currently are. And then everyone's going to kind of come to you and you can just pick them off because you're already in a defensible position. You can be lucky. All sorts of things. So it's like the difference between COD and Battlefield and why some people really like one or the other. I quite like Battlefield because I'm kind of rubbish. If you're bad at COD, it's really frustrating because everyone else is getting kill streaks and you're just like dying in 5 seconds and you just feel like an idiot. And all the people who are really good are just like, yeah, it's amazing, I'm just dominating, whatever. Battlefield, by contrast, so much is going on. There's so many angles. You can't just like, oh, I know the spawn points, I know the rotation, I'm just going to like move around the map in this like order and pick people off. You can't do that. There's just too much going on. And so as someone who doesn't intimately know the map and isn't like going to be dominating, it's just much more fun because it feels like a more level playing field. There's the chaos of war. And again, I think the map is so big and there's just so many things going on and there's so many possibilities of where people could be. And there's no respawning either, that, you know, it feels like a fairer thing. I don't think you have to worry about being the best in that sense. Are you going to play it? Are you going to play it once you get your machine back? It's going to be a few months till you get your machine back.
And it's getting perilously close to
B-Day.
Yeah.
When you have to be sensible and it's fine, you'll have paternity leave. No.
That's what I said.
It's alright. I have other friends who want to play it too. You can be off the hook.
But you need to create a group on Steam so I can just go in and just be part of and then be ready. So I have ready-made friends.
Ready-made friends.
The worry is that I'm just too rubbish and I'm just too far behind. I'm just going to be a dead weight to you guys.
Yeah, I did find that when I played Battlefield, I was a dead weight for some time because it's very squad heavy. And yeah, I never actually played these games as much as some of my other friends. So I did often find that I was letting the side down ratio wise. That's why I would often be a medic. Here I can just be a distraction. It's alright. There'll be you to deflect attention from me. They'll be like, yeah, Mike's not great, but that Ting fellow.
No, not for the first time. I'm there just to make you look good. Let's talk about Phoenix Point.
I had no idea this game existed until I got these show notes.
So this is Julian Gollop trying to create a spiritual successor to XCOM.
How did you find out about this?
Not Reddit games.
Oh, yeah, I've been busy. I actually haven't been reading that much Reddit recently.
That's a good thing.
I suppose so. Yeah, so back in the distant past, the Gollop brothers, I think it's brothers. I can't remember who the other one is.
I always thought it was brothers.
I think maybe one of them has bowed out of the industry. Anyway, one of the original creators of XCOM, which means essentially one of the original creators of the genre.
Which he admits himself.
Well, I think you've got to blow your own trumpet a bit. And to be clear, there have been many attempts to recapture the magic of the original XCOM. There have been many spiritual successors to XCOM. And I don't really think any of them has quite done it. So there's obviously the official sequels to XCOM, one of which is basically a reskin, Terror from the Deep. There were a whole series of games, UFO, I can't remember exactly what they're called, like Aftershock and Afterlight, and there's a whole series of those. There is Xenonauts, a kickstarted, fan-driven spiritual successor, and of course the recent Firaxis sequels, or reboot, essentially, of XCOM. But the thing is, a lot of these, well, maybe not so much the Aftershock, Afterlight series, but the majority of them have actually stuck very close to the original story of XCOM. And so I think it always feels like there's something slightly missing, which is the discovery. Like one of the really interesting things I found when I first played XCOM was the UFOpedia and having to research the aliens and find out the lore and the backstory of them and like never quite knowing what was going on. Well, like you shoot down a UFO and it's bigger than you've seen before, and then you turn a corner and you see an alien and it's an alien you've never seen before. You know, then you're thinking, wait, what is this one actually going to do? And then it'll like, you know, use psychic powers, or maybe it's got a new kind of weapon that you've never seen. That kind of experience I feel like all of the games so far have been kind of aping the original XCOM too much, and they haven't really evolved the genre. At best, they have streamlined it by taking on elements of things like Final Fantasy Tactics. So they've moved away from time units to this kind of 2-action system, which is much more like a Japanese tactical RPG, which is much easier to understand and much less mentally taxing. But I think it has streamlined out a lot of the finer elements of the gameplay. So Phoenix Point is a completely new tactical geo management UFO XCOM spiritual successor by the original dude. And the story is kind of like the Aftershock and Afterlight games, I guess, where there is some mysterious pathogen that has mutated everyone, and it's set essentially after the fall of civilization and the remnants trying to fight back the invasion. In many ways, this kind of makes more sense. It was actually very odd before why, once it becomes apparent that the aliens are a real threat, that you're so relatively underfunded. It's like, wait, the aliens are a real threat and they're sending freaking giant battleships to actually attack cities. Why are we having to try and shoot them down with our fleet of 2 planes? Why don't you just mobilize the army or launch a nuke at them? So this kind of makes the story make more sense in the sense that you're all there is. And then there are some particular evolutions of the mechanics of the game that sound very interesting. So they're explicitly talking about, well, obviously procedurally generated terrain and buildings and destructible terrain and buildings, which is all stuff that was in the original. But now they're talking about procedural generation of the aliens as well.
Depending on your battle tactics?
Yes. So, I mean, they showed aliens and like swapping out limbs and heads and things, and like aliens might have claws, or maybe they'll like have a shield instead of an arm. So you can imagine if you're like very heavily using like sniper weapons, maybe, then maybe they'll like develop really heavily armored carapaces or something. Or if you're very heavy on melee, then maybe they'll, I don't know, you know, but you can see they had like
more
humanoid
claws,
heads or
bigger claws.
More claws, bigger claws, yes. So it looks good. I mean, they've been working on it for a year. They're looking to release it next year, 2018. I'm certainly interested.
So they talked about having vehicles. Is that something that was in the original XCOM?
Not in the way they're describing. They're talking about vehicles that you can put squad members in and drive around in, I think. And no, the original XCOM, you had kind of mobile weapons platforms, but you couldn't ride around in them. They were just autonomous tanks, essentially.
Is there anything more we need to say about the game?
To say about the game itself, I mean, they do mention explicitly this willpower system. So they're saying they're going to use the, you know, 2-action system that the new XCOMs have used, but there will be this willpower system, which will kind of let you spend willpower points on actions as well. So it won't be quite as clear cut as you can move and you can take an action. It will be, you can spend willpower, which I presume regenerates differently. So maybe you can really go all in on one turn and then you'll have to like dial back on the next few while it regenerates. So maybe there will be a bit more of the time unit kind of strategy in there as well.
I wonder if they'll fix the problem with having, you know, 80% shots not really being 80% shots. They should just remove it. If it's 80%, it should just present itself as 100%.
It's noting because it's really 80%. This is like logical fallacy. It's like, it's 80%, so of course it should hit. No, 80% means that 20% of the time it's going to miss.
Who wants to operate in a world like this?
Grown-ups?
They should round it up to the nearest 100%.
That is the problem, though. I mean, I think I don't actually think it's the percentage chance failing. I think it's just that it looks so ridiculous because in a game like Final Fantasy Tactics, for example, it's all kind of quite cartoonish anyway. So when something's got a 95% chance to hit, but it's that 5%, you know, the characters will really exaggeratedly dodge out the way. Like they'll literally just like slide sideways. The sword misses them and slide back. So, you know, you've kind of got a lot of suspension of belief anyway. It's, you know, you're not expecting it to look realistic. But with the recent XCOM games in particular, they try to make it look quite cinematic. And when you've got a 95% chance to hit with an automatic weapon and you're in front of an alien and you shoot, and it's that 5% chance that comes up, which is 1 in 20. I mean, it's not actually that unlikely. And your character goes, "Rah!" and just like fires this gun, and he manages to like fire like a perfect circle around the alien. Yes, it looks completely ridiculous, and there's no way that in reality anyone would really do this. But there you go. I do think there needs to be a bit of a balance there, but I don't think it necessarily should be in the way of changing the numbers. Maybe they should just make the animations look more realistic. They could find a better way to represent that 5% chance that maybe your gun should jam or something, rather than you like freaking out and firing into the air.
Can't have gun jamming all the time. Yeah, you'd have to mix it up.
Well, it's only 5% of the time. It's not going to be all the time. It's only going to be when the game engine determines that this would look completely ludicrous, then it should be like, let's use one of these low probability animations instead.
Can we move on to the platform?
Yes, we can move on to the platform. I was wondering if you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, we should. So this is on Fig, which allows you not only to pledge to a game, you can invest in a game.
I had never heard of this place before. This is one of those things where I had always thought there should be something that lets you actually invest for equity in a game. I'd be interested in doing that. And now I've discovered that there is. How many games have been launched on this platform? I mean, is this one of the first? Or has it been around ages and I just missed it?
I only saw 6 on the front page. And Pillars of Eternity 2 is on there.
Oh, okay. Maybe I had heard of it, but I just never looked into it. Interesting. The thing is, just because of where we work, I don't think we can actually invest in it, because there's lots of funny rules about owning shares in companies and stuff.
And also looked at how you would invest. You have to register your interest.
You have to register your interest, and then if enough people register an interest, then they essentially form a company explicitly to offer the shares out, I think.
So anyone can register interest.
It sounds like it, but then you have to complete a load of investor documentation, and I think it's all done out of the US, so it probably will become quite complicated. I imagine that in practice, you probably have to be a US citizen for it to really work out.
I looked at the profit distribution. Did you read about this?
I skimmed it.
So it's the first 25% up to 1.36 of...
Up to 1.26 times the amount of money that was raised for that company. Fig takes 50% of the profits. So until Fig has made back 1.26 times the money that they gave the company to make the game, they will take 50% of the profits of the game. And then from that point up until some other percentage, I can't remember, maybe that's the 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
Then they take 25% of the profits of the game. Or until 3 years after the game is released or something. There's like some time horizon on it.
It's those 2, yeah.
So potentially, if you could imagine if the game made a huge amount of money, actually sounds quite good. I mean, I don't really know.
From whose perspective?
Well, from my perspective as an investor. But having said that, I don't know what cut you get of it versus Fig as well as an investor. Still, certainly interesting. It's certainly interesting.
Would you use it to fund your next game?
Would I use it to fund my next game? I doubt my next game would get the kind of interest that this one has.
You can just ask for a tenth of the amount, not 10 times the amount.
Ask for a tenth of the amount. I don't need a tenth of the amount. That's the thing. I wouldn't give up control of Sir Michael Enterprises for some, I don't know. It's true. How much money do I need? How much money do I need? Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd probably have to make a game first. I think Mario Maker is not really going anywhere, and neither is the shooter. And I was saying I should make... Yeah, I've just got this list of games I wanted to make, and I just have not done any work towards making any of them. I should probably try and change that.
You want that Chris Roberts money, that's what you want.
Chris Roberts money? What's Chris Roberts money?
Star Citizen money.
Oh. Yeah, I'll have $100 million, please. And then I might just disappear. No. Well, I haven't said that. Everyone's got their price. $100 million is a crazy amount of money. That's insane. How is the game not finished yet? No, I'm joking. It does look very good. Don't know if it plays very well. I don't know whatever happened to my $20 pledge that I backed them with years ago.
You got deprioritized a long time. They're not talking to the $20 pledges.
That's right. It's like, yeah, your $20 now earns you a screw on this battlecruiser. Your name has been engraved on it in very small but very high definition texture.
It's not our problem. You can't view it on your low res screens. Come back to us when you have more money. On that note, I guess we're done.
We were Lost Levels Club.
We still are Lost Levels Club. Please rate and subscribe to us on iTunes.
Please, please, please. Or on whatever other podcast app you listen to.
You can find us on email.
mike.and.ting@lostlevels.club.
On Twitter.
@lostlevelsclub.
On YouTube.
Where we still have no catchy URL. And may never have, because you need 100 subscribers for a custom URL.
That's it?
There's Reddit.
Oh, sorry, and Reddit.
/r/lostlevelsclub.
What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful that we're going to see Guardians of the Galaxy 2 tonight. I'm actually really excited by Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I actually really, really liked Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm waving my arms around in the air right now. I mean, you obviously can't see this on the podcast, but like, I'm flailing my arms about.
April is too, and I don't get it.
You don't get it?
I don't get it.
Did you like Guardians of the Galaxy 1?
I liked it, yes.
I liked it. I really like the soundtrack as well. I really like the soundtrack. Right now, I've got in my head the, I can't stop this feeling. You know, like the Ooga Cha. Yeah. So good.
So Michael says bye.
Bye bye.